less. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people, so just hold and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. I must first start off by apologizing to you all. We had a bit of a technical hiccup this evening, but nevertheless, we are here. The fight continues. Please share the link, share the link, share the link, everyone. I hope everybody is doing fine this evening. I am supposed to be having a guest on with me, who I'm expecting, shortly. But in the interim, we can get started with the program. We got quite a few things to discuss this evening. I'm gonna just do a quick call out. Golly God, good evening. I know you control the admin stuff, having everybody share the link and everything. Janet Elias, I catch you early tonight. Good evening, my friend Pam Halls. Miss Lachman Aziz, good evening. Miss Marlene Thomas, Marianne Hamilton, Terence Beaton, Marlene Lermer, Lynette Greenwood, Carl Miller, good evening, sir. Mr. Victor Ben, a pleasant good evening to you. Miss Desiree Smart Felix, officially from New Amsterdam. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Jacqueline Johnson, Miss Brenda Braithwaite. On behalf of all of us at Bench Cup Radio 107.1 FM, we send out our condolences and sympathy to you this evening. I would have heard that you would have lost your cousin Sharon. We are all here with you, and we know that this is a time of grief for you. But listen, we're all brothers and sisters here. This is a family, so I encourage everybody to reach out to Miss Brenda Braithwaite and give her your sympathy and comfort at this time. May Sharon's soul rest in eternal peace. Sandra Hanover, good evening. Imelda Williams, good evening. Welcome to the program. Share the link, everyone. Share the link, share the link, share the link, share the link. Well, we would have seen democracy demonstrated in Brooklyn on Wednesday. Okay, across the board. Well, not from the accredited quote-unquote journalists. That wasn't democracy. But I am not going to give her much relevance this evening, but to say that she owes the public an apology, because what she would have done, she would have really went away from journalism there, and she, based on what we would have seen, you can say allegedly, but I feel like if she took a side and she was biased in her comments, Our comments should be more like, hey, let democracy take its place. You guys have a right to protest. The owner of the establishment has a right to invite who she wants to invite. That's fine. And we're going to get into this a bit more as we go into the program. Okay, because I feel like if owners of establishment has a right to do whatever they want to do, but at the same time, I feel like if the patrons also have a right to demonstrate their democratic right, and if that democratic right means not supporting that business, then we have to accept it just the way we accept. You understand me? The owner of the establishment bring in whomever they want to bring into the establishment and giving praise to them, right? Because I disagree. I disagree not with what the owner of the establishment would have done, but with all the praises and all the stuff that is given out to this guy. We have to remember that this is a man that failed to protect a public servant who was actually doing his job in Mr. Dion Bascom of the Guyana Police Force, right? We appealed to him. We appealed to Irfan Ali to provide protections for Sergeant Dion Bascom, and he never did. Dion Bascom was a public servant, and I have seen this too many times. You are just sitting there doing your job in Guyana honestly, and you end up losing your job for doing the right thing. So what we're seeing in Guyana is that when you're doing evil, you are praised. And when you're doing good or you're talking the right thing, you're either put down or you're called a racist. Oh, yes, we see this. Whenever people speak out against this government, they are racist. Okay? But I can sit here and I can say for myself that I am very much unbiased. When I started doing this work, I sat down and I looked at both sides. Okay? I sat down and I looked at both sides. I did my analysis on both sides. And I look at their performance. The PPP has a one-seat majority in Parliament. Okay? Our politics in Guyana is horrible. Our politics in Guyana is one-sided. Good evening, Shoy. Welcome to. Oh, good evening, Shoy. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Shoy Gibson is here with us this evening. Shoy, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Wayne?
I am doing very well. I'm going to just cut in a little bit to what I was saying, just to have you, have a saying what would have happened on Wednesday. But before that, Shoy, I don't know if you can do anything about about your lighting because we can't see your face. Maybe if you
Can't
could
really do much.
if you could go
Can't really do much.
behind it, you can't do anything about it.
Can't do much about it.
Okay.
That's the
All
lighting
right.
I have right now.
Okay, well, we have your voice loud and clear.
Am I that dark? Oh, I'm sorry.
That should be good enough. We have your voice loud and clear. Yeah, sure, you just give us quickly, your observation of what you would have viewed on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, it was clearly showed what true democracy is in the sense of the word democracy. Um, a business owner has a right to do and bring and sell what they want to sell. And the protesters had the right to come out and protest and say how they feel. Um, I can't tell a business proprietor what to do. I can't tell a protester what to do. What I can say, um, there were some things there that I think moving forward we needed to change. When we're going to protest, um, there's a message we're trying to send across, a clear message. Um, I did look at some of the clips. There was some vulgarity. There was some lewd behavior um, thrown at the business proprietor. Listen, people, I know that you guys, I know the protesters were upset. They didn't like what they see. They didn't like what they saw. It came into their neighborhood. It came into their junction. But it's not what you do; it's how you do it. Remember, now we have a message to convey, and cussing and carrying on and skinning our tails is not going to convey our message. We have to get our message across. Um, this woman is clearly letting you know she's a businesswoman and she's going to do what she wants to do, and that's her democratic right, and that's what democracy is about. Everybody has the right to do what they want to do. There's no wrongs and there's no rights in that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Shoy, and that's well said. A quote from Air Finale, you know,
Hmm.
his analysis of the protesters is that all they were doing is making a bundle of noise.
Well,
But
what do you expect for somebody who's limited?
right, that is true. But I want to say this: outside of the Marriott, when
Hmm.
Air Finale and the entire PPPC was shaking and wanted to turn over the vehicle of Minister Karen Cummins, was that not that was making more noise right there?
That was
That
making more
was
noise.
just that wasn't
That
just
was
that
bringing
wasn't just making noise. That was
no.
action. That was hands
That
on.
was
The
bringing
hands was on our vehicle.
that was actually bringing bodily harm to an individual because Minister Karen Cummins could have got severely hurt. And this is a man who's the head of state. There is live action video showing this man picking up Karen Cummins' SUV to turn it over. So there was not a message conveyed there either,
Right. But
but violence. That was the only message that was conveyed there was violence.
and Shoy, one of the things we also want to speak when we talk about democracy and everybody having their right, right? It is known that we know that everybody has a right.
Yes.
But sucking up to oppressors, you know, and people who are proven to be demonic creatures is definitely a problem.
A
Okay. And
problem.
while no 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 while
Mhm.
we agree that it is the right of that business person to bring whomever she wants to bring, we have to bring people of character. You understand me? And when we look
Mhm.
across the board, and I could say this is allegedly, but we have been seen across the board that most people um that support the PPPC and what they're doing, they are supporting it. They're supporting them because of personal benefit. Because of personal benefit, and they think that when they benefit and they get wealthy, that
Mhm.
they cannot be touched. But listen, there is solutions to everything.
Correct.
There is solutions to everything because all we have to do is to teach our people, okay, empower our people, and we can bring the big businesses in Guyana down to their knees. I'm not saying that is what we're going to do, but if push comes to shove, and people are not pivoting correctly, you understand me? Because what we're
Right.
seeing here, Shoy, what we're seeing is that certain people are benefiting, they're getting very rich, okay? They're controlling the distribution of goods and everything in Guyana. So when you have a government that is controlling everything, that means that you are sitting there and you are being directed as to what you're going to do.
Of
You're not,
course.
you're not getting lands in Guyana. You're not getting all these different things, but foreign investors could come in and get acres upon acres of land. when you look at all this quote unquote development that people are talking about, you ask yourself the question, what is it that is in it for the normal born and bred Guyanese? If you want to elaborate on that, Shoy, and give me your take on what you think is happening here.
But are you asking? But this is the question.
Mhm.
These people who are being a part of this unit and listening to this what do you want, business plan, business expo, whatever you want to call it, when they are venturing into these things, are they asking themselves that when I venture into this, what is the smaller man getting? That's a question for them. Because remember, now they're the ones who are going into this thing. They're the ones who's investing into this thing. And at some point in some time, your conscience got to ask you, other than making dollars and cents and making your generation wealth, at some time your conscience is going to ask you, does the smaller man, what does the smaller person get? But my thing is, they keep talking about wealth and wealth and wealth and growing. In order to get wealth, you have to have an economy. Where is the economy in Guyana in order to retain this wealth?
Well, Shoy, in short, my answer to that, the economy is there in Guyana, but the economy is there for the rich. The economy is there for the investors. That's why I do have a problem with some of the fundamentals when we look at um at economics, some of the economic fundamentals. I do have an issue with what is considered and what is not considered. Because when you talk about Guyana being the richest per capita, I mean, yes, all right, when you do the calcs, it shows that. But you just can't use that in reality and say, well, look, okay, every Guyanese people are well off. No, because we have about 50% of all people in Guyana in poverty. Although across the board, we're one of the richest countries per capita. All right. So
Yeah, okay. So we're rich. We're okay. We are deemed one of the wealthiest Caribbean countries in the world. Why do we have poverty? Why can't we not pay our civil service workers a proper salary? Why must our teachers go on strike multiple times, hollering and screaming for a proper salary in order to maintain themselves and their families? Why? So I have a problem when we're going to use these paraphrases. When we're going to use these paraphrases, we have to be able to say, this is how the country is standing. I'm all for generation wealth. I'm all for wealth. But let's do it in the proper way. Not some get and some is suffering. That's not wealth.
well,
That's robbery.
Shoy, right now, when we look at Guyana, the way that the country is being operated, it's being operated by a vision of the PPPC. We do not show no democracy in Parliament. We do not see in Parliament that the PPPC and the opposition, working as a collective team. The only thing I've seen those two sides work on is that they agree when it came to the border issue between Guyana and Venezuela.
And
That
not
is the
even
only thing.
and not even that was 100%. And not even that was 100%.
Right.
Not
That
even that
that's
was 100%.
that's correct. But we can use that as one of the only areas that, or one of the only issues that we would have seen them, coordinate together as one collective unit. But listen, when it comes to something like the oil patrimony, okay, that
Hmm.
is so important, that is so essential at this point, we should have the collective parliament, You understand me? Making decisions,
Yes.
or making decisions together when it comes to that.
Unilaterally. Yes.
The PPPC has to show that they're democratic. Okay, the whole political system in Guyana and how it works, especially when it comes to parliament, is a joke. Because when you have Barry Jagdeo making one of his, few appearances in parliament, that's a show also, our standards, where you have people skipping parliament. Everybody should be present. You know why? You're being paid to be there.
Of course,
Everybody should be present.
you're being paid to represent the people of Guyana.
Correct. Now, if he's going to show up in parliament and call the parliament a clown show, it just goes to show you how ineffective this man believes that the parliament is. Okay?
So, okay, in order for the parliament to be a clown show, and this is why I say people don't think before they speak. In order for the parliament to be a clown show, where has it stemmed from? It stems from the head. So you're saying the parliament is a clown show. So you're also saying you are a clown show because it comes from the head. It comes from the head. You got to be careful with the words you use. It doesn't make any sense. The parliamentarians are representing, and who are the parliamentarians representing currently? They're representing the people of Guyana, but who at the end of the day, who do the parliamentarians go back and relate all this information to? So when you're going to use words like gestures like that, that doesn't make any sense. So if you know that this thing is a clown show, what are you doing to repair it from being a clown show? See, I have problem with words like that, wording like that. Because in my analogy, that's how I break it down. Parliament is a place where the two sides come together to hear what are the cries and what are the needs of the people of the country. So the government that it's in government can do right by the people in the country. I think that is very rude and disrespectful and every ends of it. That's not an easy job. That's not an easy task. But these two sides can't even come together and make one. And here you come adding more fury to fire. Does that make any sense? We would never resolve anything and we would never grow as a people. We'll never get anything solved. We would never get anything done. And the country would never grow. It would still stay stagnated when it needs to be developed and it needs growth. So, for one to go and do that, I think that's damaging, very damaging. And that's just my opinion and my analysis.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Experiencing some internet difficulties. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Continuing the conversation.
no, but that's how I feel about that. That's just my opinion. I think that's very downright disrespectful to either side for you to go into a big, mm, respected place like Parliament and say it's a clown show
Well,
when
well, well,
these people
well
have to come together and do all these directives?
sure. There's a couple of ways. There's a couple of ways that we can look at this also. Okay, the people of Guyana need to
Hmm.
step up. The people of Guyana, especially the people on the ground, they
I
need to
agree.
become they need to become a part of this discussion. Listen, when we are willing to
You're not gonna
accept
get an argument with me today.
when we are willing to accept lukewarm standards, that is what we will get. Okay, the people of Guyana needs to start demanding. Okay, they need to start demanding proper standards. Remember, these politicians are being paid, and some of them are being paid hefty amounts when the month comes. Okay, I
But
have
Wayne, it
never
comes.
heard, I have never heard
Hmm.
one Guyanese politician, called out of parliament because he or she is stressed out. I've never heard it.
And
Okay,
neither.
I've never heard it. We need to start working for the people of Guyana. We need to start working, man. And
It comes.
trust me, these member of parliament,
Hmm.
they need to understand that they're not the best thing out there since sliced bread. There are people within the communities that could come out and execute better in parliament. I just
I would
want that
agree with
to
that.
be known. Okay, it's not about being bright and how many CXCs you get and all these kind of things. Okay, it's about addressing the issues. It's about being consistent with addressing the issues. And yes, you can come in raw, but once you have shown that ability to learn, you will grow into the position, right? So we cannot get in where we are sitting in parliament as a member of parliament and take it for granted. No, when we get in there, we need to act like if we're on the hot seat. If we don't perform, we will be replaced by someone else. And that's something that we need to start getting in touch with in Guyana. Stop recycling the same politicians over and over, because what you find is that it stagnates the country. Decades upon decades go by and Guyana is in the same position, just like the 23 years that was allotted to the PPP, where they didn't do one thing but build a stadium. They didn't do one thing but build, everything else failed. Don't worry that Borby's Bridge. That Borby's Bridge was a waste of time.
But it comes back once again, like something you said is very valuable. Like next month, we're going to the polls. We're going to vote. And who's not doing their job is not going back in office, in my book. Okay? And this is what I continue to say on this program, any program I go on. The Guyanese people, what I have found, the ones on the ground, the everyday man and woman who are the voters, I find that they do not keep the heat on these individuals, on these elective individuals. They elect them, they put them in office, and that is it. And that's not the answer. You have to keep the fire on their feet, because if it wasn't for your vote, they could not retain and hold the position that they are currently holding to go into parliament. They could not be holding the position as an MP if it wasn't for you going to that ballot box. So, what is the purpose of you going to the ballot box, voting, and not holding these people liable
Well,
for
well, sure we
not
got
doing their
to keep
job?
in mind. Sure, we got to keep in mind that that whole politics work in Guyana, the MPs is not selected by the people. The MPs is not selected by the
But
people.
if they don't vote,
Okay,
they still
there's a
can't get
list. There's a
selected.
list that is given, you know, And the owner of the list is who makes the decisions along with
The
recommendations.
leader of the list.
Right, correct. The leader of the list is who makes
But
the
that's, and we still have to vote for the leader, Wayne. Either way, you got to
Yes,
vote. Because if you don't
that,
vote for that leader can't pick these MPs.
that is
And
correct.
that still is by the people. If the people don't go out and vote, how can we get a leader for the party? It's the
Well,
people. So
okay,
the people have to keep the fire on these people's foot.
well, sure, when you look at it across the board, yes, it is the people. But the onus is also on the member of parliament, the leaders of the parties that I would expect to be a coalition in 2025. Look,
Mm-hmm.
the
You
PPP
and I
right,
vote.
the PPP right
You.
now is completely on the back foot. That we know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you have somebody on the back foot, you need to keep them on the back foot. You cannot give them breathing space. And sometimes when you look at how the opposition operates, they tend to give breathing space. We don't want that. Okay. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
Barry Jagdeo to come at his press conference and thinking about if they're gonna go together and all these kind of things. Keep him in suspense. He must not be able to sleep at night. Right now,
I
he's
agree
not
with you.
able to sleep at night because he fully well knows that based on the numbers, based on the statistics, okay, it's going to be extremely difficult for the PPP to find themselves sitting where they're sitting now to the extent there is free and fair elections in Guyana. And that leads me to this. Okay, the opposition has written to GCOM multiple times with
That is correct.
no response. Okay, with no response. That there, to me, my opinion, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
It's not
Since,
a good sign at all. Where's Claudette Singh?
since when is the Guyana Election Commission an autonomous body? Okay,
Yeah.
is allowed to bully and disrespect the Guyanese people. We had local government elections over a year ago now.
Yes.
No proper results was ever given to the people. No proper results.
Wayne, you're going to local government elections. Let's take it a little step back. You still haven't gotten the proper numbers from the 2020 elections or the recount. So why would you think you would get local government
Well, well,
numbers?
sure. Look, I listen. The 2020 elections and those petitions, I don't even want to really address that because that just makes me angry. Okay, it makes me angry. How could we mess
Makes
up?
me furious.
Oh, we have issues with person signing here. We should have no issues there. Period.
Exactly.
That's total lack of responsibility right there. And that's to show how much care people have for the Guyanese people. Look, you're not allowed. Listen, politicians are not allowed to make such a mistake. That would have happened with those petitions. I've never said it before. I'm saying it now. It is too important. It
Very
is too
important.
important. If that document has to be signed, be outside that person's door at 5 a.m. in the morning because it is that important. Be prepared to sign it every day until it is signed.
Mm-hmm.
It is that important. We need to start getting better across the board. And that is going to lead me in, Shoy, to, members of parliament is not talking to leader, is not participating with the party and these type of things. Look, man, if you guys are not going to participate, if you guys are not going to join the leader and support the leader, then you need to do something else and relinquish that seat. We don't have time to waste. These are people's lives you're talking about. You guys are being paid. the PPP is on the back foot, then you going for the smash because that's what the PPP does to people. You think if they had you all on the back foot, they would have wasted any time? That's the difference between the opposition and the PPP. The PPP does just run over you. If they want something, they run over you. Look, the people at Mocha, they want that space. What they do, they bulldoze them, kill their livestock and everything. They don't care. The attitude in the opposition has to change. The attitude has to change. We can't just write people and keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. There needs to be some measure of action. I understand the leader's position on protesting, but like I said, I have said it with GCOM to get them to move. You may just have to protest. You just can't sit there. What are we going to do? Go to 2025, the PPP rigged the elections, and we all just sit down? I want the members of the opposition and all their leaders to understand it is not they alone that is working. That's why I commend guys like Mark Benchcop and Rickford Bork, Norman Brown, the David Hines, the Sherrod Duncans, and these guys, the Melly Mells, amongst others. These people are working. Sometimes it's social media that keeps the fire lit when it comes to having an opposition. There is enough shows around. There is enough social media shows around to go around. We don't want everybody to have a show. People have to be on the ground. Groundwork needs to be done. The young youth in Guyana needs to be empowered. They need to understand the vision that the opposition has for them. Don't leave them. You leave them, they're going to be picked up by the monsters called the PPP. And they'll be put up to no good. There's no free university. The PPP is now talking about free university. And you Guyanese people, you all need to exercise some good sense and patience. Sense and patience. Okay? When the PPP come and distribute their monies, I'm not going to tell you to don't take it because I understand the people on the ground is in need. But let's understand this. Don't give up. Don't give up your integrity for $300,000. Don't do that. That's a waste of time. Do not give up your integrity for $300,000. Don't do it. Do not vote PPP for $300,000. All right? Don't do it. You got to remember, every time you vote in a government, they stay there for 5 years. Split off 300,000 over the duration of 5 years and see what you get. The other thing that is being promised is free university. And then Jack Dio start talking, oh, I'm looking at the university. Yes, we say that we're going to take over and we're going to pick up, the expenses with the university. But look, what I'm looking at is that they're adding a lot of new programs. Well, Jack Dio, what world do you live in? The world continues to evolve. The world continues to evolve. There should be an AI class being taught in high school. Okay? They should have a mandatory AI class in high school. Mandatory. And if we can, have an AI class in primary school also. Are you kidding me? Don't you see how fast this world is moving along? Guyanese have to keep up. That's why when the new jobs come into Guyana, you guys sit there and claim that our people are not trained and educated for these jobs. When it is your fault. It is you who would have failed them. Not any of us here. You, the PPPC. And you know what? To be honest, it's too late for you guys to do anything. There needs to be a change of government. Irfan Ali is not the answer. You guys saw when Irfan Ali went to speak at the UN, what happened? Who ain't take a lunch break, take a bathroom break and all of that. Some people didn't want to go to the bathroom, but they just say, man, let me go to the bathroom. Because this guy gonna just talk a bundle of garbage he's unlearned. Right? That's what happens when your credentials, your educational portfolio, your credentials is not real, is not authentic. Then you're not able to go on the big stages and speak. How can you? How can you? You're not qualified to do so. But that is what you have out there representing the very learned people of Guyana. We have to get better. We have to do better. We need to start ASAP having the leaders of the AFC, the PNCR, and the WPA, and all the other small parties that want to join in this coalition to start getting together and having discussions. Okay? You guys need to start meshing and intertwining with each other so you get accustomed to each other. Okay? This is a fight. And this is not, look, you may be the leaders, you may be MPs, you may be all these different things in this coalition. But let's get to the bottom line. Let's cut to the chase here. It's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's about the people of Guyana. And if you're sitting there and it's about you and it's about, your ego, you should get lost because you're being disingenuous. Okay? You're not showing feelings. You're not showing no measure of love to the people of Guyana. 23 years plus this 4+ years. How much more? How much more must they take? How much more? The people are not stupid. Right? They're sitting around, they're sitting down and they're working every day. And they're bringing in their salaries. But when they bring in the salaries, they find that every year, their life is not getting any better. It's in the same place. But when they look around them, they see all these malls going up and all these politicians is doing all this. Listen, guys, I know you guys, a lot of people watch me, and you guys would have heard this before. I have talked about politicians having businesses. Okay? I know Christopher Ram have an accounting agency. He needs to develop a special holding company. Okay? To act in the place of these politicians. They must not have direct access to their businesses. They must not be involved in the everyday operation of their businesses. They should not. All right? I am going to be looking at the opposition to the extent there's a new government in 2025 to see if they implement this rule. Okay? Again, the opposition, I'm showing favor towards the opposition. They have not had a chance to govern Guyana on the oil economy. But let's not get tossed up. I can quickly repivot from this opposition. And it doesn't mean repivot to the PPPC. No. Repivot to people trying to put together a new party or new parties. This nonsense that has been going on all the time for all these decades, it got to come to an end once and for all. Somebody's got to get in government and do for the people of Guyana. It's high time. It is high time. All right? Somebody got to get in there and execute for the people of Guyana. This nonsense got to stop. Again, every parliamentarian, I believe, should be comprehensively audited every 2 years. Okay? And once that is implemented, once that law is passed in Parliament or that rule is passed in Parliament, we should go retroactive. We could take it into the late 80s, mid 80s, and bring it forward. I don't care. I don't care. Because the assets and the capital that these guys, specifically in the PPP, has possession of, could never match their incomes. Never. Never. I can just sit here and do it without even doing the numbers. No way. There is a lot that these guys have in their possession that should be returned to the state. Speaking of that, I have not, have anybody heard any, have you guys could put in the chat, have you guys heard anything about the Marriott hotel? What's the status of the Marriott hotel? Because I recall coming out and letting Barry Jack Dio know that the Marriott should not be sold. The Marriott has a shelf life of as long as oil is producing in Guyana. As long as oil is being produced in Guyana, CPL and all these things are being played in Guyana, the Marriott has a shelf life. Why must it be sold? And the funny thing about it, when these assets are being sold, remember, it's the taxpayers' money that build out that Marriott. When these assets are being sold, they're being sold to people of Indian descent. How? What's up? What's the procurement process to determine who buys the Marriott? Is it made public when the procurement process starts? I'm Guyanese born. I'm not of Indian descent, but how you know that I can put together a set of partners and we buy off the Marriott? Barry Jack deal? How come? We got to do better, man. We got to do better. That's why there is a certain ethnic group controls about 90% of the wealth in Guyana. Like I said before, it is not by chance that this has happened, lightning flash. It is by design. These guys have designed it that way. And Guyanese have sat there and allowed them to do so. We need to start, each and every Guyanese need to start standing up and being accountable. And also teaching your children how to be accountable. You guys want to change the landscape? Then you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And one of those decisions is that you guys got to sit down and, really determine where you want to spend your money. Because all these things that are going up, it's designed that you guys will spend your money there. But just how they go up, they can come down. All you have to do is not spend your money there. Yes, the little mom and pop business is going to be, some things maybe $100 more, some things maybe $50 more. But at least you know that the revenue earned by that little mom and pop business is staying in your community. We got to get smart. We got to get smart. I was listening to the Honorable former Minister of Finance, Mr. Winston Jordan. I usually make sure that I'm tuned in to Kidaki Show when Mr. Jordan speaks. And man, this week here, he was just keeping things really basic. He was talking about the basic things that we had. Fruit trees in the yard. All the different fruits. All the different things that we have had in Guyana. Don't allow these people to Americanize you guys just like that. No. I'm not saying that there's not some good qualities from America. Yes. There's a lot of good qualities in America. But there are also some things that you want to leave alone. especially if you want to be a healthy Guyanese. Okay? A healthy Guyanese is one that eats his fruits, natural fruits, that bears off the tree, is picked and washed and eaten. Don't go into this whole thing where everything is going into a freezer and you know, this is going on it to keep it and all these kind of things. Fertilizer, everything is fertilizer all over everything. That's not good for the body. You should limit yourself of such things. All the different preserved canned food with all the preservatives and everything. We're Guyanese, we're not accustomed to that. I live in the United States and I don't partake much in any canned foods. Sometimes in order to make two massive steps forward, you got to take a few steps backwards. Start planting your little celery and your little shallot and your couple tomatoes in your yard and stuff. Hey, look, it's not just planting. It's also good for your well-being. You know, you get up in the morning, you water in them plants, you know, it gives you a chance to think, reflect. You know, I plant, I live in the state, whenever it's spring, whenever there's spring into summer, anyway, between May and August, I plant. You know, I plant. Do I have to? No, I don't have to, but I want to. Because it's healthy for me. It's healthy for me, and it gives me something positive to do. I want us to really start as a people getting up on our game. I want to see togetherness. Okay? Not egos. Oh, you see how many people I had? Or, oh, you ain't had that much people. Forget about it. It's not about how many people you had or you have. It's about the message that you're delivering. It's all about the message that you're delivering to the people. You need to give them a message of uplifting. When these leaders come on, I don't just want the leaders to address issues. Issues are extremely important. That's what we're dealing with. But I also want them to address the people. Convey their love for these people that they're serving. You have to love them. If you don't love them, then you know, you're not really driven to serve them. You got to love them. You got to demonstrate that love. All right. We're coming down here now to you know, to showtime here. We're getting down to the end. What else can I see? But you know, thank all of you, you know, for being so continuous and so adamant with your support. All right. This is a fight that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice but to win it. All right. I was going to have the young businessman from Tushin, Joel Dotson, but I just tried to call him and it didn't go through. Next weekend, I'll try to have him on so that he can update you on what's happening with the issue between him and that neighbor who comes out of the office of Anil Nandalal. So I'll try to have Joel on next Saturday as I prepare to leave this afternoon. I want to remind the PPPC that we have not forgotten about our brother Courtney Crum Ewing. We have not forgotten about Isaiah and Joel Henry. Courtney Crum Ewing, mother, she was out there for that protest. Okay? And when they asked her, you know, why she was there to stand up for the Guyanese people. But she also said that she needed justice for her son. And yes, we all here need justice for our brother. Peter Headley, we're not going to forget Peter Headley. or in Boston. We're not going to forget him. We are not going to forget him. All right? And Ricardo Fagundes, paper shorts, that case needs to be solved. And those who are responsible for his execution, okay, need to do their time. They need to do their time. So, again, come 2025, we have a new government. That new government has to be prepared. They have to have plans. They have to have plans for that police force. The Guyana police force is a horrible institution. Okay? So the good police officers, kudos to you guys. Keep your head up. Continue to do your job. But oh my goodness, that entity is so corrupt. It is so corrupt. And it starts from the top. It starts from the top. The whole top level of the Guyana police force brass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come up upon time here. As you could see, my song just came in. Lemon, thank you. I asked him to just bring in that song to remind me that it's time. I want to thank each and every one of you tonight for joining. You know, I hope you enjoy the program. Miss Brenda Braithwaite, we are standing with you. And to everyone else, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be careful. Take care until next weekend. Good night.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Get your give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up. We done fed up. The people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up.